There are two ways to destroy a person. You can do it with fists and screaming, or you can do it with a smile and a cup of tea. Zoleka's mother-in-law had chosen the second option. For 8 months, Soo Yeon had served her criticisms with perfect manners and concern for health. For 8 months, she'd bought Zoleka clothes that didn't fit and suggested diets and made comments about pretty faces that deserved better bodies. For 8 months, she'd done it all while smiling. And for 8 months, Min Seok had watched his mother slowly tear down his wife and done absolutely nothing. He told himself it wasn't his place to interfere, that his mother meant well, that Zoleka was being too sensitive, that if he just stayed quiet, eventually everything would work itself out. He was wrong. When a video from a family dinner went viral and made Zoleka the center of a national conversations about racism and body shaming in Korea, Min Seok could no longer hide in silence. He had to choose his mother or his wife, keeping peace or keeping love. This is the story of that choice. And the woman who stopped waiting for someone to save her and saved herself instead. Zoleka stared at the small porcelain cup in front of her. Steam rose from the pale green liquid inside, curling like tiny question marks in the air. "It's a special tea," her mother-in-law said, smiling. "Very good for health. Many Korean women drink it." The older woman's hands were perfectly manicured, her posture straight as a ruler. She pushed the cup closer to Zoleka with both hands, the gesture looking polite, almost loving. "What kind of tea is it?" Zoleka asked. "For digestion," Soo Yeon said. Her smile never moved. "And it helps with, how do I say, losing weight. You know, for health." The words landed soft but sharp, like a knife wrapped in silk. Zoleka felt her throat tighten. She looked across the table at Min Seok, her husband of 8 months. He was cutting his meat into perfect small pieces, eyes down, jaw working like he was chewing stones instead of food. "Oh," Zoleka said. She tried to laugh. It came out strange. "I'm okay, thank you." Soo Yeon's smile stretched wider. "But I bought it specially for you. Very expensive." "Please drink." The dining room felt smaller suddenly. The walls seemed to lean in. Zoleka could hear the clock ticking on the wall, each second loud as a drumbeat. She picked up the cup. The tea was bitter on her tongue, like swallowing's disappointment. "Good girl," Soo Yeon said, then turned to Min Seok. "Your wife is learning our ways. This is good." Min Seok nodded. He still didn't look up. That was 3 hours ago. Now Zoleka sat in the car next to her husband, watching Seoul's sky blur past the window. Her stomach hurt from the tea, or maybe from the silence. She couldn't tell anymore. "Your mom really doesn't like me, does she?" Zoleka said quietly. Min Seok's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "She's just traditional. It takes time." "Time for what?" "For her to adjust. You're different from what she expected." Zoleka turned to look at him. His profile was beautiful in the dashboard light, the same face she'd fallen in love with 2 years ago when he walked into that jazz club in Cape Town. He'd sat in the front row for 3 nights straight, never ordering more than 1 drink, just watching her sing like she was something precious. Different how, she asked, even though she knew. She'd always known. Min Seok was quiet for too long. "Then can we not do this tonight? I'm tired." Zoleka turned back to the window. Her reflection stared back at her, dark skin against the bright city lights, and she wondered when exactly she'd started feeling like a problem that needed solving. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. 6 months earlier, Zoleka had landed at Incheon Airport with 2 suitcases and a heart full of music. Min Seok had been waiting at arrivals with flowers, yellow roses, because he remembered her saying once that they reminded her of home, of the sun in Johannesburg. "Ready?" he'd asked, taking her bags. "So ready," she'd said, and meant it. The apartment in Mapo was small but bright, with a balcony that looked out over the neighborhood. Min Seok had bought a keyboard for her, set it up near the window. "So you can write songs," he'd said. "Seoul's will inspire you." And it had. At first, everything was new and exciting. The food, the sounds, the way the city moved fast and slow at the same time. She'd practiced her Korean with the lady at the corner store, who always laughed at her pronunciation, but never made her feel stupid about it. She'd even booked her first gig, a small jazz club in Hongdae. 20 people in the audience, but they'd clapped like there were 200. Afterwards, a woman with a bright smile had approached her. "I'm Amara," she'd said in English. "Nigerian, but I've been here 5 years. You were amazing." They'd exchanged numbers, went for coffee the next week. Amara worked in marketing, spoke Korean better than some Koreans, and had opinions about everything. So you're married to a Korean guy? Amara had asked, stirring her latte. Yeah, Min Seok. He's an architect. Met the family yet? Next Sunday. I'm nervous. Amara had made a face, somewhere between sympathy and warning. Korean mothers-in-law are intense. And we, she gestured between them, get the advanced level. What do you mean? Girl. Amara had leaned forward. You're black, foreign, and I'm guessing curvy? Zoleka had laughed, uncomfortable. I mean, yeah, but Min Seok loves me exactly as I am. That's beautiful, Amara had said. Just remember that for later, when things get complicated. Zoleka had brushed it off then. Amara was probably just jaded, had a bad experience or something. Min Seok's love felt solid, real, like bedrock. But then came that first Sunday dinner. Before you keep scrolling, do me a quick favor. If this story already has you hooked, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. And if you're new here, stick around because this story is about to get intense. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Soo Yan's house in Gangnam was the kind of place that made you feel like you should take off your shoes, and also maybe your whole personality. Everything was cream-colored and perfect, like a furniture catalog where no one actually lived. Min Seok's mother had answered the door in a pale blue hanbok, her hair in a neat bun, her smile polite and cool. You must be Zoleka, she'd said in careful English. Welcome. Thank you so much for inviting me, Zoleka had said, holding out the gift they'd brought. Expensive wine that Min Seok had chosen. Soo Yan had taken it with both hands, barely glancing at the label. Min Seok, you should have told me she was coming in that dress. I would have suggested something more suitable. Zoleka had looked down at herself. The dress was navy blue, modest, hitting just below her knees. She'd tried it on 3 times that morning. She looks fine, Mom, Min Seok had said. But his voice was quiet, almost apologetic. The dinner had been worse. 7 courses of food Zoleka couldn't identify. Each one placed in front of her while Soo Yan watched to see if she'd know how to eat it properly. Min Seok's father barely spoke, just nodded occasionally like a human metronome. Korean food is very healthy, Soo Yan had said. Much better than Western food. Western food makes people very big. She'd said it while looking directly at Zoleka's plate. Zoleka had put down her chopsticks. Min Seok had coughed and asked about his father's golf game. On the drive home, Zoleka had waited for Min Seok to say something. Anything. An apology. An acknowledgement, a sign that he'd noticed his mother's words were tiny cuts disguised as concern. Instead, he'd said, "That went well, I think." Now, 3 months and 12 Sunday dinners later, Zoleka had a collection of weight-loss teas, a drawer full of clothes 1 size too small that Soo Yan kept buying her, and a husband who had perfected the art of looking away at exactly the right moment. The apartment felt cold when they got home, even though it was June. Zoleka went straight to the bedroom, closed the door, and sat on the edge of the bed. She could hear Min Seok moving around in the kitchen, probably making tea, the normal kind. After a few minutes, he knocked softly. "Can I come in?" "It's your room, too." He opened the door but didn't come close. "Zoleka, I know tonight was hard." "Which part?" "When your mom gave me diet tea at dinner. Or when she told me that your ex-girlfriend used to be a dancer and was very slim. She's just from a different generation. She doesn't understand that those comments hurt." Zoleka laughed, sharp and bitter. "She understands perfectly. That's why she says them. That's not fair." "What's not fair," Zoleka said, standing up now, "is that I sit there every week while your mother tells me in 50 different ways that I'm too fat, too black, too foreign, too much, and you say nothing every single time, Min Seok. Nothing." His face did something complicated. Pain mixed with frustration mixed with something that looked like shame but wouldn't quite commit to it. "What do you want me to do? Yell at my mother? Disrespect her in her own home?" "I want you to defend me," Zoleka said, her voice cracked. "Just once. I want you to choose me." The silence stretched between them like an ocean. Finally, Min Seok said, "I do choose you. I married you, didn't I?" It was the wrong answer, and they both knew it. Zoleka turned away. "I'm tired. I'm going to sleep." She didn't sleep. She lay there staring at the ceiling, listening to Min Seok eventually get into bed beside her, the space between them feeling wider than it had ever been. The next morning, Min Seok left early for work. Zoleka stayed in bed until noon, something she never did. When she finally got up, her phone had 3 missed calls from Amara and a text that said, "Coffee? You sound like you need coffee." They met at a small place in Itaewon, the neighborhood where foreigners gathered and Korean rules felt a little more flexible. Amara took one look at Zoleka's face and ordered them both cake with their coffee. That bad? Amara asked. Worse. Zoleka told her about the tea, about the comments, about Min Seok's silence. Amara listened without interrupting, which was one of the things Zoleka loved about her. When Zoleka finished, Amara was quiet for a moment, then said, "You're disappearing." What? When I met you 3 months ago, you were loud. You laughed big, you took up space. Now you're folding yourself smaller and smaller, trying to fit into a box his mother built. Zoleka wanted to argue, but the words stuck in her throat because Amara was right. She'd canceled 2 gigs this month because they fell on Sunday dinners. She'd stopped wearing bright colors because Soo Yeon once said they were too attention-seeking. She'd even started eating less, skipping lunch, checking her body in the mirror with a critical eye that wasn't hers. It was borrowed from someone who smiled while hurting her. "What do I do?" Zoleka whispered. "That's not my answer to give," Amara said. "But I'll tell you what you don't do. You don't keep shrinking. Because one day you'll be so small that even you won't be able to find yourself anymore." That night, Zoleka stood in front of her keyboard for the first time in weeks. Her fingers found the keys slowly, rusty. She started playing something soft, then sad, then angry. Words came with the music, tumbling out like they'd been waiting. She sang about smiling while drowning, about swallowing words until they became stones in your stomach, about loving someone who couldn't hear you screaming. When she finished, her face was wet. She hadn't realized she was crying. Behind her, Min Seok stood in the doorway. She didn't know how long he'd been there. "That was beautiful," he said quietly. "It's about us," Zoleka said. "About this. Do you even understand that?" He looked like he wanted to say something real, something true. Instead he said, "You should perform again. You're so good." And just like that, the moment cracked and fell apart. The weeks crawled by, each Sunday dinner a fresh collection of paper cuts. Soo Yeon had developed new tactics. Now she brought articles, printed from the internet, about health and nutrition and the obesity epidemic in Western countries. She'd place them next to Zoleka's plate like terrible party favors. "Just information," she'd say sweetly. "For your wellness." Min Seok's father had started talking to Zoleka more, which should have been nice, except he only asked questions about Africa, like it was one country, and all of it was safari and poverty. "Do you miss the lions?" he'd asked once. "I'm from Johannesburg," Zoleka had said. "It's a city, like Seoul. But with lions nearby, yes?" Min Seok had said nothing. One Sunday in late August, Soo Yeon outdid herself. She'd invited Min Seok's cousin and her new boyfriend, clearly setting up some kind of comparison. The cousin was tiny, dressed in designer labels, spoke 3 languages, and worked in finance. "This is Ji-won," Soo Yeon had announced. Top of her class at Yonsei University, very accomplished. Ji-won had been nice enough, polite, but Soo Yeon had spent the entire dinner pointing out Ji-won's achievements like highlighting text in a book. "And she runs marathons," Soo Yeon had said. "So healthy. Min Seok, you used to run, remember?" "Not really, Mom. You should start again, maybe both of you." She'd looked at Zoleka. "Exercise is very good for marriage." Zoleka had excused herself to the bathroom. She'd locked the door and sat on the edge of the bathtub, counting her breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4. She did this now, the counting. It was the only way to stop herself from screaming or crying or walking out entirely. When she came back to the table, Min Seok had glanced at her with concern, but when his mother started talking again about Ji-won's promotion, he'd turned his attention back like a flower following the sun. In the car ride home, Zoleka had said, "I'm not going to the next dinner." "What?" "You heard me, I'm done." "Zoleka, you can't just stop coming to family dinners. Watch me." Min Seok had pulled the car over, right there on the side of the road. "This is important to me. Family is everything in Korean culture." "And I'm your family too," Zoleka had said. "Or am I just an accessory you bring to show how modern and international you are?" "That's not fair." "Nothing about this is fair, Min Seok. Your mother tortures me every week, and you sit there like furniture. I'm tired of being the only one fighting for this marriage." He'd looked genuinely confused. "I'm not fighting against you. You're not fighting for me either, and that's worse." They'd driven the rest of the way in silence. Zoleka had kept her word. The next Sunday, she'd told Min Seok to go without her. He'd tried to argue, but she'd been firm. He'd left the apartment looking stressed, and Zoleka had spent the day singing, loud and free, all the windows open. It felt like breathing for the first time in months. But then Min Seok had come home and said, "My mother wants to have a special dinner. She's inviting people from my firm, colleagues, and their wives. She specifically asked for you to be there." "No, Zoleka, please. This is for my career. These are important people, and I'm your wife. Isn't that important? You know what I mean." And that was how, 2 weeks later, Zoleka found herself getting dressed for another dinner at Soo-yeon's house. This time with an audience of strangers who would watch her mother-in-law perform her concerned kindness routine. She chose a black dress, simple and elegant, put on lipstick the color of wine, looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. When had her eyes started looking so tired? "You look beautiful," Min Seok said from behind her. Zoleka didn't answer. The dinner was exactly as awful as she'd expected, and then worse. Soo-yeon had gone all out, the table decorated like a magazine spread, each course more elaborate than the last. There were 6 guests plus family, all of them watching Zoleka like she was part of the entertainment. Soo-yeon had introduced her as Min Seok's exotic wife, a word that made Zoleka's skin crawl. Then she'd launched into a story about how difficult it was raising a son in modern times with all these foreign influences. "But we adjust," Soo-yeon had said, smiling at Zoleka. "We learn to accept what we cannot change." One of the wives had laughed, a tinkling sound like breaking glass. Then came the main course. As plates were being served, Soo-yeon had made a show of giving Zoleka a smaller portion. "I know you're watching your figure," she'd said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Zoleka has such a pretty face. We want to make sure the rest matches, don't we?" The table had gone quiet for half a second. Then someone had coughed and conversation had resumed. But Zoleka had seen it, the glances exchanged, the uncomfortable smiles. And she'd seen Min Seok looking down at his plate, jaw tight, saying absolutely nothing. Something inside her had cracked then. Not broken, but definitely fractured. She'd made it through the rest of the dinner on autopilot, smiling when expected, nodding along, playing the role of the grateful foreign wife who was so lucky to be accepted into this perfect Korean family. On the drive home, she'd said, "I can't do this anymore," Min Seok had sighed. "Can we please not fight? I'm exhausted. I'm not fighting, I'm stating a fact. I can't keep doing this. What do you want from me, Zoleka?" "I want you to see me," she'd said. "Really see me. Look at what this is doing to me and decide if you care enough to do something about it." He'd been quiet the rest of the drive. That night, Zoleka had lain awake until 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, feeling Min Seok's breathing beside her, and making a decision. The next morning, she'd called Amara. "I need to perform again," Zoleka had said. "A real show. Can you help me?" "About damn time," Amara had said. "I know a place." Within 3 days, Amara had booked Zoleka a spot at Club Evans in Hongdae. Friday night, 9 o'clock slot. Decent crowd expected. "They remember you," Amara said over the phone. "The owner said you were good for business." Zoleka felt something unfold in her chest, something that had been folded up tight for months. "Thank you." "Don't thank me. Just show up and remind Seoul who you are." Zoleka started rehearsing that same afternoon. Her voice felt strange at first, like a muscle she hadn't used in too long. The notes came out shaky, uncertain, but she kept going, pushing through the rust and doubt. She wrote new songs, words pouring out faster than she could catch them. Songs about silence that screamed louder than words, about smiling until your face forgot what real happiness felt like, about disappearing in plain sight. Min Seok came home that evening and found her at the keyboard, papers scattered everywhere, her voice filling the apartment. "You're really doing this," he said. He sounded surprised. "Did you think I wouldn't?" "I don't know. I guess I thought you'd given up on performing here." Zoleka stopped playing. "You thought I'd given up, or you hoped I would." "That's not what I meant." "Then what did you mean?" He'd opened his mouth, closed it, then said, "I have an early meeting tomorrow. I'm going to bed." And he'd left her there with her music and her anger and the growing certainty that something had to break soon because she couldn't. Keep bending. The next few days passed in a blur of rehearsals. Zoleka barely noticed the time. She'd wake up, practice right, practice more. She met with Amara twice to run through the set list. Amara had invited some friends from the expat community, promised to spread the word. "This is going to be good," Amara said. "I can feel it. Zoleka hoped she was right. Thursday evening, Min Seok came home looking tense. He poured himself a drink before even taking off his jacket, which was unusual. "What's wrong?" Zoleka asked. "My mother called. She wants to do another dinner." Zoleka's stomach dropped. "When?" "Saturday night." Min Seok, "No, my performance is Friday. I can't deal with your mother the next day. It's not just family this time. She's invited the senior partners from my firm and their wives. This is really important for my career. And my performance isn't important." "I didn't say that. You didn't have to." Min Seok set down his glass harder than necessary. "Why does everything have to be a fight with you lately?" "Maybe because I'm finally fighting back." They'd stared at each other across the kitchen, the distance between them feeling like miles. "Fine," Zoleka had said finally. "I'll go to your mother's dinner. But I'm done pretending everything is okay." "What does that mean?" "It means I'm tired of being quiet. If she comes for me, I'm going to respond." Min Seok had looked worried. "Please don't make a scene." "I'm not the one making scenes, Min Seok. I'm just finally refusing to be a silent extra in them." Friday night arrived cold and clear. Zoleka spent 2 hours getting ready, choosing an outfit that made her feel powerful. Gold earrings her grandmother had given her, hair wild and free, lipstick bright red. When she looked in the mirror, she saw herself again. Really saw herself. Not the shrunken version she'd been becoming, but the woman who'd stepped on stages in Cape Town and made rooms go silent with her voice. "You look nice," Min Seok said. He'd agreed to come to the performance, probably out of guilt. "I look better than nice," Zoleka said. "I look like myself." The club was more crowded than she'd expected. Amara had done her job well. The audience was mixed, Koreans and foreigners, young and old, all of them there to listen. Backstage, Zoleka's hands were shaking. Amara grabbed them. "You've got this," Amara said. "Go out there and burn the place down." Zoleka walked onto the stage. The lights were warm on her skin. She could see Min Seok in the back, standing against the wall. Could see Amara front row center, grinning like she'd won a bet. "Hi everyone," Zoleka said into the microphone. "My name is Zoleka. I'm from South Africa, and I've been quiet for way too long." She started with a jazz standard, something familiar to ease into. Her voice found its groove, rich and full. The room settled into listening. Then she shifted into her own songs, the new ones, the raw ones. She sang about being told to be smaller while taking up less space every day. About love that watched while you drowned. About beauty standards that had nothing to do with being beautiful and everything to do with being controlled. The audience was absolutely still. Some people had tears on their faces. Others nodded along like she was singing their story too. For the final song, she switched to Korean. Her pronunciation wasn't perfect, but the emotion was. She sang directly to every person who'd ever smiled while cutting her down, every moment of silence that had felt like betrayal. When the last note faded, there was a beat of pure silence. Then the room erupted. People stood up, clapping, some whistling. Amara was crying and cheering at the same time. Zoleka looked to the back of the room. Min Seok was still there, but his face was wet. He was crying. Their eyes met across the crowd, and Zoleka felt something shift. Not forgiveness, not yet, but maybe the beginning of understanding. Backstage afterwards, people kept coming up to her. Compliments, requests for her social media, someone asking about booking her for a corporate event. It was overwhelming in the best way. Amara hugged her so tight Zoleka couldn't breathe. "You were incredible. I felt incredible," Min Seok appeared, hanging back until the crowd thinned. When he finally approached, his eyes were still red. "That was," he paused, searching for words. "I didn't know. I didn't understand how much you were holding in. I tried to tell you. I know. I'm sorry. I should have listened better. It wasn't enough, not nearly enough, but it was something." Zoleka nodded. "We should talk," Min Seok said. "Really talk. After my mother's dinner tomorrow, can we sit down and figure this out?" "Yeah," Zoleka said. "We can do that." She'd meant it too. In that moment, riding high on the performance, on finally being heard, she'd thought maybe they could fix this. Maybe Min Seok's tears meant he was finally seeing her. She had no idea that tomorrow would change everything. Saturday evening came too fast. Zoleka was still tired from the performance, but she got dressed for Soo Yeon's dinner, armor disguised as a dress. "Remember," Min Seok said in the car, "these are important people. The senior partners have a lot of influence over promotions." "I remember. And my mother, she's just trying to impress them. If she says anything, can you just let it go? Just for tonight? Zoleka turned to look at him. You're really asking me that after last night? I know. This dinner is really important for my career, and I'm your wife. Doesn't that matter? Of course it does. I'm just asking for one night. Zoleka didn't answer. She looked out the window and wondered if Min Seok's tears last night had meant anything at all. Soo-Yeon's house was lit up like a hotel, every window glowing. There were 3 cars already parked outside, expensive ones. Smile, Min Seok said as they walked to the door. Zoleka wanted to ask why she had to perform happiness for people who made her miserable. But the door opened and Soo-Yeon appeared, dressed in designer labels and pearls. Min Seok, Zoleka, welcome, she said. Her smile was bright and cold. Come in, come in. Everyone is excited to meet Min Seok's exotic wife. There was that word again. Exotic, like she was a fruit or a vacation destination. The dining room was full. 3 older men in expensive suits, their wives dressed like they were attending a royal wedding, and Min Seok's father looking uncomfortable in the corner. Soo-Yeon made introductions. The senior partners nodded politely. Their wives looked Zoleka up and down like she was an item at auction. Hey, quick pause. I know this is getting intense, and I need to know if you're still with me. Drop a like if you're Team Zoleka right now, because what's about to happen is going to make you want to reach through the screen. Let's keep going. Dinner started off tense and got worse. Soo-Yeon was performing, playing the perfect hostess, making sure everyone's glass stayed full and conversation flowed. She told stories about Min Seok's childhood, each one designed to show what an exceptional son she'd raised. The guests laughed at the right moments, complimented the food, played their parts. Then Soo-Yeon turned her attention to Zoleka. We are so lucky to have such an international family now, she announced to the table. Zoleka is from Africa. South Africa, she always corrects me. Polite laughter. It's been an adjustment. Soo-Yeon continued. Different cultures have such different standards. For food, for family, for everything. One of the senior partners' wives leaned forward. How are you finding Korean cuisine? It's delicious, Zoleka said carefully. But very different from your food, I imagine, the woman said. African food is very heavy, yes? Lots of meat and starches? South African cuisine is actually very diverse, Zoleka said. We have influences from all over. How interesting, the woman said in a tone that meant the opposite. Soo-Yeon jumped back in. Zoleka is learning to eat more healthily here. Korean food is much lighter, better for the figure, there it was. Zoleka felt her jaw tighten. Actually, she said, I'm quite happy with my figure. The table went quiet for a second. Soo-Yeon's smile froze. Of course, Soo-Yeon said quickly. I just mean that health is so important. As a mother, I worry. I'm sure your own mother taught you about taking care of yourself. The mention of Zoleka's mother, who had passed away 4 years ago, felt like a slap. Min Seok knew this. Had he told his mother, Zoleka couldn't remember. My mother taught me that my worth isn't determined by my dress size, Zoleka said quietly. Another beat of silence. One of the senior partners coughed. Min Seok was staring at his plate like it held the secrets of the universe. Soo-Yeon recovered quickly. Such a Western perspective. Very modern. Here we believe that discipline and self-control show respect for others. But every culture is different. She said it sweetly. That same smile plastered on, but the insult was clear. Zoleka lacked discipline, lacked self-control, lacked respect. The main course arrived, and Soo-Yeon made a show of serving everyone. When she got to Zoleka, she placed a noticeably smaller portion on her plate. I know you're watching what you eat, Soo-Yeon announced, loud enough for everyone to hear. And Zoleka has such a pretty face. We want to make sure everything else matches, don't we? Several people laughed. Uncomfortable, polite laughter, but laughter nonetheless. Zoleka looked at Min Seok. He was frozen, fork halfway to his mouth, eyes down. Say something, she thought. Please, just say something. He didn't. One of the younger wives pulled out her phone. Let me get a picture of this beautiful table, she said. Soo-Yeon, your dinners are always so elegant. She started taking photos, candid shots of people eating, laughing, talking. The phone was pointed at Soo-Yeon when she repeated, louder this time. We're all so concerned about Zoleka's health. It's important to maintain yourself when you marry into a good family. The woman with the phone laughed and kept filming. Zoleka felt something inside her snap, not break snap. Like a branch that had been bent too far, she stood up. "Excuse me," she said. "I need some air." She walked out of the dining room, through the perfect hallway, out the front door. The cold night air hit her face and she realized she was shaking. Behind her, she heard voices. Soo Yan saying something about foreigners being too sensitive. Someone laughing, the clink of glasses. Not one person came to check on her. Not even Min Seok. Zoleka stood there in the cold, counting her breaths again. 1, 2, 3, 4. She would not cry. She would not give them that. After 5 minutes, she went back inside. Head high, shoulders back. She sat back down at the table and made it through the rest of dinner without saying another word. The car ride home was silent. Zoleka stared out the window. Min Seok gripped at the steering wheel. Finally, he said, "You embarrassed me." Zoleka laughed. Actually laughed. "I embarrassed you? You walked out in the middle of dinner, in front of my bosses. Your mother called me fat in front of your bosses, multiple times, and you said nothing. She didn't call you fat. She was just concerned about your health." "Don't you dare," Zoleka said. Her voice was shaking. "Don't you dare gaslight me right now. You know exactly what she was doing. You've always known. She's my mother, and I'm your wife. Or does that not matter?" Min Seok pulled the car over. They were on some random street, lights blurring outside. "What do you want from me?" he said. "You want me to cut off my family? Disrespect my mother in public? That's not how things work here." "I want you to defend me," Zoleka said. She was crying now, couldn't stop it. "I want you to love me enough to choose me. Just once. Just one time, Min Seok. I do love you. Then act like it." They sat there in the parked car, the engine running, both of them crying, the distance between them infinite. When they got home, Zoleka went straight to the bedroom and locked the door. She lay on the bed fully clothed and stared at the ceiling until sleep took her under. She woke up to her phone ringing. It was 11 in the morning. Sunday she'd slept for 14 hours. The phone said Amara. Zoleka answered. "Have you seen it?" Amara's voice was tight. "Seen what?" "Check Instagram. Check Twitter. Check everything." Zoleka's stomach dropped. She pulled the phone away from her ear and opened Instagram. Her notifications were exploding, hundreds of tags, comments, messages. She clicked on the most recent one. It was a video from last night's dinner. The woman who'd been taking pictures had posted it to her Instagram story. Someone had screen recorded it and posted it everywhere. The video showed Soo Yan smiling, placing the small portion on Zoleka's plate, saying clear as day, "Zoleka has such a pretty face. We want to make sure everything else matches, don't we?" Then the laughter. Then Zoleka's face, the moment before she stood up. The hurt visible even through the phone screen. The video had been subtitled in Korean and English, shared thousands of times. Commented on by people all over Seoul, all over Korea, all over the world. Some comments defended her, called out Soo Yan's behavior, named it for what it was. Others were cruel. Said Zoleka was too sensitive, said she should respect Korean culture. Said worse things, racist things, things that made her stomach turn. Korean news blogs had picked it up. International media. Someone had written an entire article titled, "The Black Wife Korea is Talking About." Zoleka dropped the phone like it had burned her. There was a knock on the bedroom door. "Zoleka," Min Seok's voice. "Are you awake?" She unlocked the door. Min Seok stood there looking exhausted. Still in yesterday's clothes. "You've seen it," he said. "Not a question. When did you find out?" "This morning," my boss called. "The firm is getting tagged in posts. Reporters are calling the office." "What did your boss say?" Min Seok was quiet for too long. "He said this is a distraction," he finally admitted. "He asked if we could make it go away." "Make it go away," Zoleka repeated slowly. "Your mother humiliated me on camera, and your boss wants to know if we can make it go away. It's not like that." "What's it like then, Min Seok? Explain it to me." He sat down on the edge of the bed, head in his hands. "I don't know. Everything is spinning out of control." Zoleka's phone rang again, unknown number. She ignored it. It rang again immediately, and again. "You should turn off your phone," Min Seok said. "Maybe I should answer it. Maybe I should tell everyone exactly what it's been like. Every dinner, every comment, every moment you stayed silent." Min Seok looked up at her. "You wouldn't. Why not? It's already out there, might as well tell the whole truth." "Please don't. Please. This will blow over if we just stay quiet." "I'm done being quiet," Zoleka said. Her phone buzzed with a text. This one got through because it was from a saved contact. Jin A. Kim, a name Zoleka didn't immediately recognize. Then she remembered. The woman from the Black Korean women's advocacy group who'd reached out months ago after one of her performances. The text said, "I saw the video. If you want to talk or if you need support, we're here. You don't have to face this alone." Zoleka stared at the message. "Who is it?" Min Seok asked. "Someone offering help? What kind of help? The kind you never gave me." Min Seok flinched like she'd hit him. Zoleka's phone wouldn't stop now. Messages, calls, notifications. The world outside had discovered her pain and was picking it apart like vultures. She turned off her phone and sat down next to Min Seok on the bed. "What do we do?" he asked quietly. "I don't know," Zoleka said. "But I know what I'm not doing. I'm not apologizing. I'm not hiding. And I'm not protecting your mother from consequences she earned. She's going to be destroyed by this. She destroyed me first, every single Sunday for months, and you let her." "I know," Min Seok whispered. "I know. I'm sorry. Sorry isn't enough anymore." They sat there in silence while outside the world decided what their story meant, who was right, who was wrong, who deserved sympathy and who deserved judgment. Zoleka didn't know it yet, but this was just the beginning. The video was everywhere by Monday morning. Korean news shows picked it up. International outlets ran stories. Think pieces appeared on racism in South Korea, on beauty standards, on the treatment of foreign wives. Zoleka's face was suddenly recognizable on the street. She couldn't leave the apartment without someone staring, pointing, occasionally yelling something she was glad she couldn't understand. Min Seok went to work and came home looking worse each day. His firm was getting attention they didn't want. Clients were calling asking about the controversy. His mother was being torn apart online. Tuesday morning, Soo Yeon called a press conference. Zoleka watched it on her laptop, Min Seok standing behind her shoulder. His mother appeared on screen looking smaller somehow, dressed in pale colors, her hair pulled back simply. She looked like someone's sweet grandmother, not the woman who'd spent months cutting Zoleka down with a smile. "I am deeply hurt by what is happening," Soo Yeon said in Korean. The news channel provided English subtitles. "I welcomed my son's wife into our family with an open heart. In our culture, we show love through concern for health and well-being. I never meant to cause pain. This is a misunderstanding of culture." She dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. Foreign cultures and Korean culture are very different. What seems like criticism is actually care. I am being attacked by people who don't understand our ways. My family is suffering because the internet has decided I am a villain. But I am just a mother who loves her son. The reporter asked if she wanted to apologize to Zoleka. Soo Yeon paused, looked directly at the camera. "I apologize if my concern was misunderstood. I hope my daughter-in-law can forgive this old woman who only wanted the best for her." The screen cut to commentators discussing whether this was a genuine cultural gap or veiled cruelty. Zoleka closed the laptop. "She's making herself the victim," she said. "She's scared," Min Seok said. "She's never been criticized like this before." "Good. Maybe now she knows how I felt every single Sunday." Min Seok's phone rang. He looked at the screen and his face went pale. "It's my mother. You should answer it." He did, stepping into the other room. Zoleka could hear his voice, muffled, apologetic. Always apologetic with his mother, never with her. When he came back, he looked exhausted. "She wants us to do a joint interview, the three of us, to show we're a united family." "Absolutely not. Zoleka, please, this is killing her." "It was killing me for months and you didn't care then. That's not fair." "I did care. You had a terrible way of showing it." Min Seok sat down heavily on the couch. "What do you want me to do? She's my mother. I can't just abandon her. I'm not asking you to abandon her. I'm asking you to stop abandoning me." They stared at each other across the small living room that suddenly felt enormous. Zoleka's phone buzzed. She'd turned it back on that morning, immediately regretted it, but kept it on anyway. This message was from Jin-ae again. "There's a community meeting tonight. Black and mixed race women married to Korean men. We meet monthly. You should come, 7 o'clock, cafe in Itaewon, just to listen if nothing else." Zoleka showed Min Seok the message. "Are you going to go?" he asked. "I think I need to. To complain about me? To be around people who understand what I'm going through. Is that okay with you? Or do I need your mother's permission first?" It was a low blow and they both knew it. Min Seok stood up, grabbed his jacket. "I'm going to the office. I'll be late tonight." He left without kissing her goodbye. They used to never do that, leave without a kiss. Now it felt normal. Zoleka got dressed slowly, carefully. She hadn't left the apartment since the video went viral except to throw out trash. The thought of going outside made her anxious, but staying inside was suffocating her. She took the subway to Itaewon. A few people stared, but no one approached her. Maybe they didn't recognize her without the context of a screen. Maybe they just didn't care. The cafe Jin-ae had mentioned was small and warm, tucked between a bookstore and a restaurant. Zoleka walked in and immediately felt a dozen pairs of eyes on her. A woman stood up, tall and beautiful, with dark skin and kind eyes. "Zoleka, I'm Jin-ae. We're so glad you came." The other women introduced themselves. Sarah, married to a Korean man for 6 years, 2 kids. Kiamaka, engaged, planning a wedding her future in-laws kept trying to control. Yuna, half Korean, half African American, born in Seoul but treated like a foreigner her whole life. Others whose names Zoleka tried to remember, but there were too many. They sat in a circle with coffee and tea, and pastries no one was afraid to eat. "We all saw the video," Jin-ae said gently, "and we wanted you to know you're not alone. Every woman in this room has a story like yours." One by one, they shared stories of mothers-in-law who smiled while criticizing, husbands who loved them but couldn't defend them, comments about skin color, hair texture, body size, cultural differences used as weapons. Sarah talked about her mother-in-law telling the kids that dark skin was dirty and they should stay out of the sun. Kiamaka's future mother-in-law had asked her to lose 15 kilograms before the wedding. Yuna had been told her whole life she was pretty for a mixed girl, the unspoken message clear. Zoleka listened and felt something loosen in her chest. The validation of knowing she wasn't crazy, wasn't too sensitive, wasn't imagining things. "What do I do?" Zoleka asked when it was her turn to speak. "The whole country is watching now. Half of them think I'm a victim. Half think I'm attacking a poor old Korean woman who doesn't know better." "What do you want to do?" Jin-ae asked. "Forget what everyone else wants. What does Zoleka want?" Zoleka thought about it. "I want to sing. I want to tell my story the way I need to tell it. And I want my husband to actually stand up for me for once in his life." "Then do that," Jin-ae said simply. "We'll support you however we can." They talked for 2 more hours, exchanged numbers, made plans to meet again. When Zoleka finally left the cafe, the sun was setting and she felt stronger than she had in months. She came home to find Min Seok on the couch, tie loose, drink in hand. "How was it?" he asked. "Good, really good. I should have found them months ago. I could have helped you find community if you'd asked." "I shouldn't have had to ask, Min Seok. You should have thought about what I'd need as a black woman in Korea. But you didn't, because thinking about it would mean acknowledging the problems." He didn't argue, just took another sip of his drink. "My mother wants to have a family dinner," he said. "Just us, my parents and my sister. No cameras, no guests. She wants to talk." "When?" "Friday night." Zoleka almost laughed. "She still thinks she can summon me to dinner after everything." "She's trying, Zoleka. In her way, she's trying to fix this." "By having another dinner where she controls everything?" "No, if she wants to talk, she can come here. Neutral ground." "She won't do that." "Then I guess we have nothing to talk about." Min Seok set down his glass hard enough that it clinked against the table. "Why are you making this so difficult?" "Me? I'm making this difficult? You know what I mean." "I really don't, Min Seok. Please explain to me how I'm the problem in a situation where your mother verbally abused me for months and you stayed silent." "She didn't abuse you. That's such a strong word." Zoleka felt something cold settle in her stomach. "Get out." "What? Get out of this room. I can't look at you right now." "This is my apartment too. Then I'll leave." She grabbed her phone and her keys and walked out. Took the elevator down. Walked the streets with no destination. It was cold, but she barely felt it. Her phone rang. "Amara, where are you?" Amara asked. "I'm tracking your location, don't be mad, but you sound upset in your last text." "I'm walking. Somewhere in Mapo. Stay there. I'm coming to get you." 20 minutes later, Amara's car pulled up. Zoleka got in and immediately started crying. All the tears she'd been holding back for days, weeks, months came pouring out. Amara didn't say anything, just drove to her apartment and made tea and let Zoleka cry until there was nothing left.
"He doesn't see it,"
Zoleka finally said. "Even now, with everything that's happened, he still thinks I'm overreacting." "Some people don't want to see," Amara said, "because seeing means they have to do something, and doing something is hard. I love him, I know, But I don't think love is enough. Sometimes it's not. Zoleka stayed at Amara's that night. Min Seok texted 3 times asking where she was. She responded once, "I'm safe. I need space." The next morning, she woke up to her phone exploding again. A Korean news outlet had published an interview with one of the guests from the dinner party. The woman claimed Soo Yeon was being unfairly targeted, that the video was taken out of context, that Zoleka had been rude to her hosts all evening. It was a lie, a complete fabrication. But it didn't matter. Half the internet believed it immediately. The narrative was shifting. Poor Soo Yeon, attacked by woke culture. Poor traditional Korean mother, destroyed for caring about health. Poor family, torn apart by a sensitive foreign wife who couldn't take a joke. Zoleka read the comments and felt sick. "Don't read those," Amara said, taking the phone away. "They don't know you. They don't know what really happened. But they're deciding anyway. They're making me the villain. Let them. You know the truth. The people who matter know the truth." Zoleka's phone rang. "Janae." "I saw the interview," Janae said. "It's garbage. Listen. We want to offer you something. A platform. A real one. There's a journalist, independent, does long-form interviews about race and culture in Korea. She wants to talk to you. Tell your full story, not just the video. Everything. I don't know. Think about it. You don't have to decide now. But Zoleka, right now, other people are telling your story. Maybe it's time you'd hold it yourself." After she hung up, Zoleka sat with the offer. Telling her story meant exposing everything. The months of small cruelties, Min Seok's silence, her own pain laid bare for consumption. But staying silent meant letting lies become truth. "Before we get to what happens next, I need you to do something for me. If this story is hitting different, if you're feeling everything Zoleka is feeling right now, hit that subscribe button, because the ending of this story is going to stay with you, and you're going to want to come back and tell me what you think." Now let's see what Zoleka decides. She went home that afternoon. Min Seok was there, working from the apartment. He looked up when she walked in. "I was worried," he said. "I stayed at Amara's. You could have told me. I did tell you. I texted you." He closed his laptop. "We need to talk about Friday." "There's nothing to talk about. I'm not going to your mother's house." "Then we'll do it here. I already told her. Friday night, 7 o'clock, she and my father will come here." Zoleka stared at him. "You told her she could come here without asking me? This is my home too, and we need to resolve this. The 3 of us, we need to sit down and figure this out like adults." "Like adults," Zoleka repeated. "Min Seok, your mother spent months treating me like garbage and you did nothing. Now she's being called out and suddenly we need to be adults and work it out? What do you want me to do? She's my mother. I can't just cut her off." "I'm not asking you to cut her off. I'm asking you to prioritize me, just once. I'm asking you to tell her that what she did was wrong and it's not okay and it won't happen again. I can't control what she says, but you can control whether you defend me when she says it." Min Seok ran his hands through his hair. "This is all so complicated. It's only complicated because you're making it complicated. It's actually very simple. Your mother or me, who matters more? That's not fair. You're my wife, but she's my mother. I can love you both. You can love us both, but only one of us has been hurting the other, and you keep choosing to protect her feelings instead of my dignity." They stood there in the middle of their living room, the space between them full of everything they weren't saying. Finally, Zoleka said, "Fine, Friday night. But I'm not pretending everything is okay. If she comes at me again, I'm done. With her and with you." Min Seok looked like he wanted to argue, but something in her face stopped him. He just nodded. The next 2 days dragged by. Zoleka rehearsed what she wanted to say, how she wanted to say it. She talked to Janae about the interview offer and decided to do it, scheduled for next week. She told Min Seok about it Wednesday night. "You're going to do a whole interview about us?" He looked hurt. "About me. About my experience. You're part of that, but it's not about you. Everyone will know, my colleagues, my family, everyone. Everyone already knows, Min Seok. The video made sure of that. At least this way they'll know the full truth, not just a 30-second clip. What are you going to say about me?" Zoleka looked at him carefully. "The truth, that I love you, but you failed me when I needed you most. That silence can hurt just as much as cruelty. That love without courage isn't enough." He flinched. "That's how you see me? As a coward? How else should I see you?" You watched your mother tear me down and you said nothing, every single time. What would you call that? Min Seok didn't answer. Friday arrived cold and gray. Zoleka spent the day cleaning the apartment, not because it needed it, but because she needed something to do with her hands. She made food, simple stuff, nothing fancy. This wasn't a dinner party. This was a reckoning. At 6:45, Min Seok came out of the bedroom in fresh clothes. He looked nervous. Whatever happens tonight, he said, I do love you. I know you love me, Zoleka said. I've never doubted that. What I doubt is whether you love me more than you fear disappointing your mother. The doorbell rang at exactly 7 o'clock. Min Seok opened the door. Soo Yeon stood there with her husband, both of them dressed formally like they were going to a business meeting. Soo Yeon's face was tight, her usual warmth replaced with something harder. Please come in, Min Seok said in Korean. They entered slowly. Taking off their shoes, Soo Yeon's eyes scanning the apartment like she was looking for evidence of something. Hello, Zoleka said in Korean. Her pronunciation was better now, months of practice. Soo Yeon didn't smile. Hello, Zoleka. They sat in the living room, the four of them arranged like opponents before a match. Min Seok's father looked uncomfortable, like he wished he was anywhere else. Zoleka understood the feeling. Nobody spoke for a long moment. Finally, Soo Yeon said in Korean, This situation has become very difficult for our family. Min Seok translated even though Zoleka understood. Yes, Zoleka said in English. Min Seok translated, It has. I never intended to hurt you, Soo Yeon continued. In Korean culture, we show care through concern. I was worried about your health, your adjustment to life here. That is what mothers do. Zoleka took a breath. In my culture, we show care through respect. You didn't respect me. You criticized my body, my culture, who I am. That's not care. That's cruelty. Min Seok translated, his voice shaking slightly. Soo Yeon's face hardened. I am being destroyed online. People are calling me terrible names. My friends won't speak to me. All because I tried to help you. You weren't helping me. You were trying to change me into someone I'm not. Because Min Seok deserves a wife who takes care of herself. I do take care of myself. You just don't like how I look. The words hung in the air. Soo Yeon turned to Min Seok, speaking rapidly in Korean. Are you going to let her speak to me this way? I am your mother. Tell her to show respect. This was it, the moment Zoleka had been waiting for. She looked at Min Seok, watched him calculate, watched him try to find the middle ground that would keep everyone happy. Mom, he said slowly in Korean. Zoleka is right. Soo Yeon's eyes went wide. What you said to her all those times, it was hurtful. Maybe you meant well, but the impact was cruel. And I should have said something earlier. I should have defended her. He switched to English, looking at Zoleka. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was wrong to stay quiet. I was wrong to prioritize keeping peace over protecting you. Then back to Korean, to his mother. What happened wasn't Zoleka's fault. It was yours. You hurt her repeatedly and I let you. That stops now. Soo Yeon stood up shaking. How dare you? I am your mother. I raised you, sacrificed everything for you, and this is how you repay me. Choosing this woman over your own family. She is my family, Min Seok said. His voice was stronger now. She's my wife, and you don't get to treat her badly just because you're my mother. If you do this, Soo Yeon said, tears in her eyes now, if you side with her against me, there will be consequences. Your father and I, we won't accept this. Min Seok's father spoke for the first time. Soo Yeon, maybe we should listen. No, she snapped. This is Western poison. This idea that a wife matters more than parents. We are his family. We come first. You can both matter, Min Seok said, but not like this. Not with you hurting her and expecting me to pretend it's love. Soo Yeon grabbed her purse. We're leaving when you come to your senses. When you remember who you are and where you come from, you can call us. Until then, don't contact me. She stormed toward the door. Min Seok's father followed, pausing to bow slightly to Zoleka, an apology in his eyes. The door slammed shut. The apartment was silent. Min Seok sat down heavily, his face in his hands. Zoleka could see him shaking. Are you okay? She asked. I just blew up my relationship with my mother. You stood up for your wife. It's the same thing in her eyes. I know. He looked up at her, eyes red. I should have done this months ago. The first time she said something cruel, I should have stopped it. I'm so sorry, Zoleka. I'm so incredibly sorry. Zoleka sat down next to him, not touching, not yet, but close. Why didn't you? She asked quietly. Why did you let it go on so long? Because stopping it meant choosing, and I thought if I just stayed quiet, eventually it would work itself out. You'd adjust, she'd warm up, everything would be fine. I didn't want to see that by not choosing, I was choosing her over you. And now I see it, I see what I did to you, to us, and I don't know if sorry is enough, but it's all I have. Zoleka was quiet for a long time. Then she said, it's not enough, not yet, but it's a start. What do we do now? Now we figure out if we can rebuild this. If you can keep choosing me even when it's hard, even when your mother is crying or your family is angry or people are judging us. I want to try, Min Seok said. I want to be better. I want to be the husband you deserve. Then prove it. Not tonight, not in one big moment, every day. In small ways and big ways, show me that you meant what you said. He reached for her hand. She let him take it. I will, he said. I promise I will. They sat there on the couch as night fell outside, holding hands, the apartment quiet around them. The interview with Jin A's journalist friend happened the following Tuesday. It was long, 3 hours of Zoleka telling her full story. The months of comments, the weight loss tease, the smaller portions, Min Seok's silence, but also her performance, finding community. Learning to take up space again, the journalist asked about Min Seok. Do you think he's changed, she asked. Zoleka thought carefully. I think he's trying to change. Whether that's enough, I don't know yet, but he finally chose me. That matters. Do you regret marrying him? No. I regret that it took a public scandal for him to find his courage. But I don't regret loving him. The interview went up on Friday. Within hours it was everywhere. News outlets quoted it, social media dissected it, think pieces analyzed it, public opinion shifted again. More people understood now, saw the full picture. Some still defended Soo Yeon, claimed Zoleka was destroying a family. But many more saw it for what it was. Zoleka's inbox filled with messages from other foreign wives in Korea, from women who'd experienced similar things, from people thanking her for speaking up. She also got hate mail, threats, racist garbage that she deleted without reading fully. Through it all, Min Seok stayed close. He'd taken time off work, told his firm he needed to deal with family issues. His mother wasn't speaking to him. Some relatives had called to scold him. Others quietly expressed support. My aunt texted, he told Zoleka one evening. She said she's proud of me, that she wished her husband had defended her like that. How does that feel? Strange, good, sad, everything at once. 2 weeks after the family dinner, Zoleka got a call from Club Evans. They wanted her back for a full weekend run. 3 nights, bigger venue, actual pay. They said you're good for business, the owner said. People want to hear you sing. Zoleka took the gig. Opening night was sold out. The crowd was massive, filling every corner of the space. Zoleka could see Amara front row center again, Jin A and several women from the group. And in the back, trying not to be noticed, Min Seok. She sang everything, old jazz standards that reminded her of home, new songs about survival and silence and finding your voice. The final song was in 3 languages, English and Korean and Zulu, about women who refused to be small. The standing ovation lasted 5 minutes. Backstage afterward, Min Seok found her. You were incredible, he said. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for coming. I'll always come. From now on, I'll always show up. I'm going to hold you to that. Please do. They went home together, walking through Seoul's streets hand in hand. People still stared sometimes, but Zoleka didn't shrink anymore. She walked tall, took up space, let herself be seen. 3 months later, things were still complicated but better. Min Seok was in therapy, learning to set boundaries with his family. Zoleka was performing regularly, had even started teaching vocal lessons to young singers. Soo Yeon had sent one text through Min Seok's sister. It said, I hope you're both well. It wasn't an apology, but it was contact. Min Seok had asked if Zoleka wanted him to respond. Not yet, she'd said. When she's ready to actually apologize, really apologize, then maybe. They were learning to be honest with each other, to fight fair, to choose each other even when it was hard. One Saturday morning, Zoleka woke to find Min Seok already up making breakfast. He'd made pancakes, terrible lumpy pancakes, but he'd tried. What's this? She asked. I'm practicing, he said, being the partner you deserve, starting with pancakes. She laughed, really laughed, for the first time in what felt like forever. They're awful, she said, taking a bite. I know, I'll do better next time. You will. They ate terrible pancakes together, and it felt like hope. 6 months after the video, Zoleka stood on stage at a bigger venue in Gangnam, the neighborhood where Soo-yeon lived. The irony wasn't lost on her. Before her final song, she spoke to the audience. When I first came to Seoul, I thought love would be enough. I thought if I loved my husband and he loved me, everything else would work out. I was wrong. Love isn't enough. Love needs courage. It needs action. It needs someone to stand up and say this is wrong when wrong things are happening. She looked at the audience. So many faces looking back. But I also learned that I don't need anyone to save me. I can save myself. My voice, my music, my refusal to be small, that's my power, and nobody can take that from me unless I let them. She started the song, her voice filling the space. In the audience, Min Seok watched his wife own the stage, own her story, own her power. He was crying again, but this time it was pride. After the show, they walked to their car through cold November air. Your mother was there tonight, Zoleka said. Min Seok stopped walking. What? In the back. I saw her during the second song. She left before the end, but she was there. Did she say anything? No, but she came. That's something. They drove home through Seoul traffic, the city lights reflecting off windows and water. Do you think we'll make it? Min Seok asked quietly. Zoleka thought about it. I think we're making it right now. Every day we choose each other, we're making it. I choose you, he said. Every day, I choose you. I know, Zoleka said. I can finally feel it. That night they lay in bed, the apartment quiet around them. So much had changed. So much was still uncertain. Soo-yeon hadn't apologized, might never apologize. The internet had moved on to other scandals, but the scars remained. But Zoleka was singing again, taking up space again, being herself again, and Min Seok was showing up. Not perfectly. He still struggled sometimes with confrontation, with disappointing his family. But he was trying, really trying. I love you, he said in the darkness. I love you too, Zoleka said, and I'm finally starting to trust that again. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. It was something better. It was real. The story doesn't end with everything perfect because life isn't perfect. It ends with Zoleka finding her voice and Min Seok finding his courage, and both of them learning that love is a choice you make every single day. Sometimes the choice is easy. Sometimes it costs you everything. But when it's real, when it's worth it, you make the choice anyway. Zoleka made it. Min Seok made it. And in a small apartment in Mapo with a keyboard by the window and two people learning to be brave together, that was enough. Before you go, I need you to hear this. Zoleka's story isn't just a story. It's happening to women all over the world right now. Women being told to be smaller, quieter, less themselves. If this moved you, if you felt something, don't just scroll past. Subscribe to this channel. Share this video. Leave a comment telling me what you felt. Because stories like this matter. And your voice matters too. Thank you for listening to Zoleka's story. I'll see you in the next one.